Today's review is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Paige. This book came on off my radar a few times over the past little bit. It's been on a lot of bestsellers lists and top 10 lists and whatever. And some of my students have read it and talked about it. So I was familiar with the story. A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine and I we were on Twitter chatting back and forth about some young adult books. And she had made the comment that she had just finished this book. We were talking about it. Of course, as we're talking about different books, we were tagging, the authors and stuff in there. And Danielle Paige actually came into our conversation for a few. And I thought that was kind of cool, that the author was, finding time to kind of interact with her fans a little bit. And then when she followed me, that kind of moved her book up to the top of my list, right? So I went ahead and I downloaded it. I did listen to this. I did listen to the book. I knew I was going to be doing some work in the garage on some furniture, and I was going to be in the car for a little bit. So I went ahead and got the audio version of this, the unabridged audio version. And this is a story about a girl named Amy and the tornado that blows her out of her desperate trailer park life in Kansas into Oz, just like Dorothy and just like the story of Wizard of Oz. There, she is enlisted into the Order of the Wicked to help defeat the tyrannical ruler of the magical lands, Dorothy. Because after Dorothy had left Oz to go back to Kansas, she comes back to Oz, and over time she becomes this tyrannical ruler of the land. And so the Order of the Wicked, and now Amy, has made it their goal to kill Dorothy and return the land to its original state. So, for me, this was kind of a fun story. It flowed well. The action was fun. The action was good. The storyline was fun. It just kind of moved along. It kind of kept me, engaged. And so that was really cool. I really appreciated it. I thought that the action, because there were a lot of, there's some fight scenes and some tense moments, some moments of crisis or climax, if you will. And, the resolution of those were not, coincidental. It wasn't like, let's do this just to make the storyline go on. So the action felt real and normal, even though it was, a magical land and whatever. But it still worked. It still flowed, and I appreciated that. I thought the characters were well done. There was variety in the characters. And the characters were developed off of the originals, right? But they were all turned into evil characters over the course of time. All the main characters, the Scarecrow and the Lion, everybody, they all became evil. And for me, when I saw that the author, took that chance by taking a story that we were familiar with, characters that we were familiar with, ideas and concepts that we're familiar with, and to really make them her own and to tell this new story with them, I thought showed a lot of confidence and showed some skill that, she was able to take these and make them into new people. Of course, that was a sticking point for me early on. For me, the question that I had to answer for myself early on was, is this fiction or is this fan fiction? Is this a new story, or is this just somebody who took someone else's work, someone else's ideas, and just put their own name on it? For me, when I was looking at that question and trying to answer that for myself, the thing I really focused on was, did they take the original characters and just transplant them into a different place or to a different story? Or were these really new characters that had new developments or new twists to them? It wasn't like, we see Harry Potter, and his gang, but now they're in America, in New York City, doing whatever. These were actually, I felt like these were actual new characters. One of my favorite stories was Rainbow Rowell's Fangirl, and the main character wrote fan fiction. And her writing teacher in college kept refusing her work because the teacher said, this is not original, this is not new. And for me, I really was able to kind of, put this into perspective, that this was a continuation of the story. This was a new story. It wasn't just old stuff stuck into a new place. And so for me, and because I made this decision early on, it really kind of allowed me to keep this story in perspective and to enjoy it and to continue reading it, really. In the end, I think I have to put this on my 3.5 bookshelf. I got to put it on the 3.5 bookshelf. It was fun. It was creative. It was interesting. And I think it did make you kind of think of those what ifs, right? You know, what would happen to Dorothy if she were returned, and what would happen to this, and how did this continue on? This is the first book of a series, and so that, you know, obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions, but I think that it flowed well, and it told that story fairly well, and it kind of set up the rest of the series. In the end, was it anything new and earth-breaking? Probably not. But, you know, it was fun. And I think if any of my students or anybody else came up and asked, I'd say they would definitely enjoy it and to give it a try.